Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. And in today's video, we are going to be continuing a series that we haven't done in over a year now, and that is the My Hero Academia Heroes of the Morphing Grid series, What If Deku Was a Power Ranger? Part 13, as we now go into the portion of Season 6 that just concluded recently, and we'll be covering what I am now calling the Psycho Wars arc. Now, I know a lot of you were fans of the original My Hero Academia Power Rangers series, and many have been asking, when I was going to do a next part, or why I haven't done a next part sooner. Well, the thing is that at the time when I had concluded the Heroes of the Morphing Grid story, all the Power Ranger stories that I was doing on the channel, most of them weren't doing too well in terms of getting viewerships. In fact, a lot of them still haven't. And I thought that a lot of people weren't really interested in the story. Well, outside of the My Hero Academia story, a lot of the other stories didn't generate that much interest. So I just thought as a whole that Power Rangers wasn't going to be all that good. So because of that, I just put it on the back burner. I didn't really give it much thought or attention. And, I kind of thought I wasn't going to come back to it. But, a lot of people were asking for it. A lot of people want me to do it. So, I'm getting ready to start the next part of the story. And then, unfortunately, we get the news that Jason David Frank, who was known for playing Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger from the original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger stories, he unfortunately died last year when I was right about to get to starting the next part of the series. And I've never been in a situation like this before. I don't want to come off as trying to profit off of someone's death. I didn't want to come off that way. And, at the same time, I had just finished the Deku Batman story when Kevin Conroy died. So, for me, I wanted to do a tribute. I wanted to do something respectful, but at the same time, I didn't want to come off as trying to, profit, or not say profit, or, try to make a name off of the death. I didn't want to do that. So I didn't touch it for a while, but, people really wanted me to continue it. And I thought, now's a good time as any. I just finished watching Season 6 not too long ago. So I figured this is a good chance for me to continue the story. So that's what we're going to be doing here. For everyone who really loves the series, I want to take time to say thank you. Next week is going to be the 3-year anniversary for this channel. So thank you all for getting us this far. We're close to 4,000 subs, so that's also a really big deal for me. So I want to say thank you all for that. And I hope you'll stick around and enjoy what we have to offer going into the summertime and everything else we have in 2023. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into today's video. So as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. What happened to our heroes when the battle with Lord Draken seemingly came to an end? When the Rangers from across the multiverse all took their leave, returning back to their respective homes. For Izuku and the others, life did not end there, but rather preparations were being made, because just as one evil had been conquered, a new one was looming on the horizon. But before we get carried away, for anyone that's new, you might be wondering, who are the Rangers of this universe? How did they come to be? And how did they get their powers? Well, it all started in another universe. A universe where Tommy Oliver was consumed by evil. He became something infinitely more powerful. He donned the name Lord Dragon, conquering his world and leading a campaign against the multiverse, capturing and destroying Rangers across many timelines. The resistance that fought against him was able to free one of its captors, a little robot by the name of Alpha 5. Alpha, carrying the 7 original Mighty Morphin powers, was flung to another universe, a universe where Rangers didn't exist, in an attempt to hide from Lord Draken. It was in this universe that the young robot would encounter another youngling, one by the name of Izuku Midoriya. Izuku, finding the robot and learning of its plight, would offer its services to help in the fight against evil. Izuku took the power coin of the dragon, in such becoming the Green Ranger. However, in this universe, the Morphing Grid and quirks have a unique function and duality between them, especially for those who were born quirkless, like Izuku was. You see, in this universe, for those who are quirkless, you could say that being quirkless is like having a recessive gene. The gene that you could have inherited from your parents, but it ends up being a recessive trait. You could say that being quirkless in this universe is a form of recessive genealogy. But when you get what I have called the supercharge, that is becoming a Power Ranger in your cellular structure, bonding with the Morphing Grid, it's kind of like a car that needs a jump start. You could say that the Morphing Grid acts as that power cable that jump starts the genealogy that was left in reserve and brings it to the dominant forefront. As a result, if you are quirkless in this universe and you bond with a Power Ranger morpher and you use it to morph, it causes the recessive gene to flip to dominant. As such, with Izuku, the quirk that he could have had he not been born recessive is brought to the forefront. So not only did he gain the Power Ranger ability, but he also gained a quirk, that being in the form of Green Flame, or as he calls it, Emerald Flame. However, Izuku would not be alone in becoming a Power Ranger. While Izuku would go on to become the Green Ranger, or the Dragon Ranger, others would be selected to join him in his fight. First, Katsuki Bakugo would become the Red Ranger, followed by Shoto Todoroki, who would become the Black Ranger. Next, Tenya Ida, who would become the Blue Ranger. Then there was Momo Yaoyorozu, who would become the Yellow Ranger, followed by Ochako Uraraka, who would become the Pink Ranger. And then finally Melissa Shields, who would gain the power of the White Ranger. Together, the 7 would work as one team, with the assistance of a few teachers and staff in UA who were aware of the situation, among them being their leader of the team in the form of All Might, who also shared with the team his secret of One for All, a quirk that unfortunately he would use the embers of in his fight against All for One. With the quirk needing to be passed down, Izuku Midoriya would be chosen, and he would become the next wielder of One for All. Ever since All Might's retirement, he would take on more of the mentor figure for the team. After all, he was the previous #1 hero, and if there was anyone who could teach them how to be good heroes, it would be him. Alpha would often think to himself that All Might took more of a Zordon role for the team than even he would realize. So, now that all of that's out of the way, what's been going on in the meantime? The heroes have been preparing for a war that is to come. The Meta Liberation Army, now joined with the forces of Shigaraki and the members of the League of Villains, they now look to aim to take over the country of Japan, leading an all-out assault, chaos to roam through the streets, and on the rubble of that destruction, Shigaraki would reign supreme as the ruler of the lawless land. However, the heroes do have hope. One hero who has been undercover, the second hero in Japan by the name of Hawks, has been working as a spy joined with the Meta Liberation Army and with the League of Villains, attempting to gain as much information as he could. Working alongside and pretending to follow in the ideology of Destro, he has been leaving subtle hints and clues, allowing for the new number one in Endeavor to plan out the countermeasures needed in order to take down the Meta Liberation Army once and for all. It also came to the attention that a famed doctor by the name of Dr. Garaki has been working with the villains, and he is responsible for the creation of the Nomu. The heroes had to come up with a way of stopping the villains in their tracks before Shigaraki, who had been worked on by the doctor, could reach his full potential. However, there's also something that they have not been made aware of. During the time of Lord Draken, when he was attempting to make his move to hunt down the Rangers, Lord Draken employed a tactic of capturing different Ranger villains from across the multiverse and forcing them to work for him, essentially using them as lapdogs to do his bidding. In the course of this, he used a variant version of Rita Repulsa to go after the Rangers of this world. However, when her plans failed and she was forced to retreat, she did leave something behind. A Morpher. A Morpher that the Doctor took great deals of understanding. A rather sophisticated piece of technology. But the villains now had a way of tapping into the morphing grid. And let's just say there are certain things that, once trapped inside, should never be released. A power chaotic. A power that is uncontrollable. A power that could drive one psycho. The day of the counter-strike had finally come. There were going to be two teams that would be leading two assaults at the same time. First, there would be Team Endeavor, who would be leading their assault on the hospital to capture and destroy the Nomu and bring in Dr. Garaki. In the meantime, the hero Edgeshot would be leading his team on a mountainous villa where the villains had been keeping themselves recluse. The goal was to strike both sides unsuspectingly, to stop them before Shigaraki could be awakened in his new body that was being updated and enhanced by the Mad Doctor. Of course, the Rangers were going to play a role in this as well, but since they were still young and only having provisional license, they would work as support, but they were crucial to the mission, as their power could turn the tide of battle at any moment. It was just midday, the sun looming high over the city. Many people unsuspecting of the carnage that was to come. Without any hesitation, the heroes would move into the hospital, with Eraserhead moving to capture the Doctor immediately. The Doctor would be left on the ground, the old man surprised by the attack of the heroes. Endeavor would now go to confront him, along with the head chief of police, alongside with Present Mike as well. The two, especially in Present Mike as well as Eraserhead, had a great deal of anger to the Doctor, because not only had he been creating Nomu, but he had also warped their friend, the one known as Kuragiri, who was once a fellow student of theirs and close ally in UA. They thought that he had died, that he had vanished, but rather he had been used by the Mad Doctor in his schemes. The pain that their friend must have endured, it was far greater than what any of them could have realized. The Doctor begged and pleaded. Things couldn't end like this. Not this way. Eraserhead used his ability to erase any potential quirks that the Doctor might have, forcing him to shrivel up in that moment, looking more older and decrepit than he truly was. At the same time, while they were leading their assault on the hospital, the other heroes would be leading their raid against the hideout in the mountains. The Rangers had been split up in the process as well, with Melissa and Momo being with the Mountain Attack Squad, while Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki, Uraraka, and Ida would be amongst the crowd control team for Endeavor's squad. Of course, they all had to stay alert, not knowing what was going to happen at any given time. However, the old doctor had a few tricks up his sleeve as he smiled maniacally at them. You heroes, you are truly stupid. The doctor would morph into an abomination of limbs and body parts, turning into a form of a monstrous Nomu. This was thanks to the power of Twice and his quirk. This wasn't the real doctor at all, as he continued to move to his underground lair that was connected to the morgue of the hospital. Mirko, the rabbit hero, would move ahead of them, rushing to chase after the doctor, Eraserhead cursing under his breath. The girl was too reckless, he thought. At the same time, more Nomu started to appear, and Mirko moved farther ahead. He didn't want to have to do this so soon, but he would radio in. You're gonna have to go after her by yourself. We're gonna be held up here. Understood, Master. Leave it to me. A blur of purple would move past Eraserhead, following behind Mirko. Are you sure it was wise to send him after her? Endeavor would ask. He's still so young. We've been training for this moment. I have full faith in him and his abilities. Besides, I don't trust what's down there. And if any of us have the power to match these monsters, it's definitely him. Mirko would bounce from wall to wall, fighting against every low-life goon that came her way. The rabbit hero was fired up and ready for battle, eventually tracking down the real doctor as he attempted to use a warping Nomu to escape, only for it to be killed in that instance. Things weren't supposed to go this way. Master Shigaraki, he was only at 71%. Did he dare wake him up now? Well, it took you long enough. What's up, Doc? A lot of toys you got down here. You ruined everything. Nah, I just can't wait to put away a lowlife like you. Time to bring this nightmare to an end. Mirko would jump towards the doctor, with a kick ready to aim towards his gut. As she kicked him though, he hardly moved or staggered, the doctor looking up to her as he smiled. You heroes are so naive. You think you're the only ones who have powerful abilities? We've also been looking through morphing technology as well. An ooze would start to form around the doctor as he transformed into a monstrous purple being. I am Dr. Garaki, Master of the Ooze. Dr. Garaki would punch back at Mirko, forcing her to move on the defensive as he unleashed 5 of the high-end Nomu, the doctor believing that with their overwhelming strength in numbers, he could crush the hero in this moment. However, the doctor had to stay on task to the main focus at hand. Even with this updated form and strength, it wasn't nearly as substantial as he would want it to be. While he was definitely powerful enough to fight against low-level heroes, someone like the means of Endeavor, or worse, those accursed Rangers, could do him some real harm. No, now was the time to get the master out of here. As he retreated further and deeper into the lab, the 5 high-end Nomu would battle against Mirko as other heroes went to assist. However, one was able to get there faster than the others. Mirko fought with full bravery and without hesitation, even when it seemed like it was going to cost her. However, before one of the Nomu could potentially rip apart her arm, a single blade would strike, taking off its head. Well, that's impressive. I didn't think they'd send the youngster here so quickly. Let me guess, Eraserhead was worried. Well, you know, Master, he always says to be prepared for the unexpected. What exactly did the doctor turn into just then? We didn't have any records on file for him to be capable of doing that. Yeah, like I actually understand all that science mumbo-jumbo. He was talking something about power and morphing grid and... What, the morphing grid? Are you sure that's what he said? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said something to that degree. Why? Shinso would now think to himself, this is bad. Really bad. The villains know about the morphing grid? Just how much do they know? How much were they able to figure out? Shinso would send word to Eraserhead immediately. What is it, Shinso? Master, I need you to tell the others, Izuku and everyone, to stay alert. The villains know about the morphing grid. They what? Eraserhead would be shocked, but he had to keep his cool, dodging an attack from one of the Nomu. Are you sure? I heard it from Miss Mirako herself. It seems like Dr. Garaki is aware of the morphing grid, and I believe the Nomu might be enhanced by some of their power. If that's the case, then we do need to get the others alerted to the situation. Endeavor. What is it, Eraserhead? We're going to have to bring the Rangers in a lot sooner than we might have hoped. If the villains have the same tech that we do, this could be troublesome. Back at the school, within the HQ, All Might and Alpha would be on guard. You could say that they were working as the man in the chair, if you will, trying to keep everything coordinated and in order. Ooh, this is far worse than I realized, Alpha would say. What's the matter, young robot? All Might would say. If the villains actually have access to the morphing grid, then there's no telling what they'll be able to find. If they actually have this type of power, then it means that the advantage we have could be gone. And now, who knows how far of a disadvantage we might be in for? It's no time to panic. In a situation like this, a hero must stay aware of their senses at all times. They must have faith in young Mazoria and the others. We still have the element of surprise. If we can take them down in one fell swoop, we can stop them before things get out of hand. I guess you're right, but even still, I wish we could have finished the project much sooner. There's nothing we can do. Like you said, this technology takes time to work with. You can't have a rushed product. Do you think it was right to leave the other ones here? The alien ninja rangers from Class 1B? They're staying back as a form of a defensive measure. I don't expect the worst, but you have to be prepared for it. Although, one of them is not here. What? Which one? The red one. That's right. He was taken in not too long ago. Do you really think it was wise for us to let him go like that? He's going to be crucial to the mission. I'll admit, I'm not happy about the role he has to play. But even still, the job of a hero is to do the things that others cannot. I only hope that this path he's gone down is one that he can see through. In the meantime, over in the mountainous range, as the heroes were beginning their assault on the mountain complex, Twice would be running around, not sure of what to do, as he tried to find his closest friend, Hawks. Big Brother Hawks! Big Brother Hawks! It's bad, really bad. The heroes, they've, Twice would realize he was surrounded by feathers, all pointing in his direction, ready to strike him down without hesitation. Big Brother, what's the... I really didn't want it to end this way, Hawks would say, looking down to him. I don't, why? You should know. I really don't hate you. Truly. In fact, I would hope that it didn't have to come to this. But, no, not again. Not again. Twice in that moment would have the biggest mental breakdown he'd ever suffered. It was because of him Big Mag died. Because of him, Mr. Compress lost his arm. He was the one that brought Overhaul to the group. It was always his fault. He was always the one slipping up, always the one causing trouble. He let Hawks in. He let him get close. And now what? It was all his fault. He couldn't believe it, but it was all his fault. But I trusted you. Yeah, and I'm grateful for that. You heroes, you're nothing but liars. No good liars. And you have been warped. Don't you realize? They're just shut up. Just shut up. You don't have the right to open your eyes twice. Don't you realize what's going on here? Do you really think that your friends care about you? Of course I do. They've always been there for me. When everyone else turned their backs, my friends were the ones that were there for me. Even after every time I messed up, after every time, they always took me in. You heroes, you no good, rotten. I'm gonna kill you. I know. It's a shame it comes down to this. When two sides feel so strongly about their ideology that neither one of them wants to back down. Truthfully, I would hope that it never came to this. But if it did, I was already prepared to take your life. Twice in that moment would create multiple doppels of himself, backing up to create space as he reached behind his back. What the hell is he reaching for? Hawks would say, before he pulled out something that looked oddly familiar. What the hell? Where did you? Yeah, now who's the dumb one? It's morphin' time! A silver light would shine as Twice would transform, donning a ranger uniform, one that was black, shrouded in silver. I feel whole. I feel complete. A ranger? Psycho Silver, at your service. I'm going to enjoy plucking every one of those feathers off of you, and I'm gonna impale you with them. Now, time for the parade! Before he could finish, a red saber would slash through the 10 clones he had just made. Am I too late, sir? No, you're just in time, Monoma. What? A ranger? Red Alien Ninja Ranger Monoma, at your service. This is what I had been expecting. To prepare for what you couldn't see. I selected a ranger, one that I believed could follow in my footsteps. A flashback to 2 months ago. Monoma and Hawks sit in a conference room alone. I've been keeping an eye on you, Monoma. I would say I have every student I've seen here in UA. Your skills are definitely unique. But of course, it's good to see that you recognize my talents far more than any of those losers in Class 1A. Cut the crap, Monoma. What? I'm not calling you here because I'm trying to praise you. I recognize your skills, but at the same time, that attitude of yours is only going to get you hurt. Tell me, can you really sit around and say you're the best of the best when you're in Class 1B? Of course I can. I know that but you're not. Look, the reason why I singled you out is because I'm working on something and I need your help. I believe you have the skill set that can be perfect for my line of work. However, I'm going to have to warn you now. It's not going to be what you think it is. That self-delusion and grandeur of yours, it's only going to get you killed. In my line of work, there is no praise, at least not for what you really have to do. Being a hero isn't all rainbows and sunshines. It's about doing the things that may keep you up at night. The thing that has voices running through your head that make you question why you do what you do. I believe you have the skills to overcome all of that, and I believe that you could play a very crucial role in us winning this fight. But I need to know that you're going to leave your ego at the door. Otherwise, you can get out of here right now. I'm not begging you, and I'm not asking you to do anything you don't want to do. But at the same time, if you're not going to shape up into the hero that I know that this country needs you to be, then you can leave. Monoma was left stunned in that moment. Everything he thought, everything he believed in, was it all for nothing now? He had the power, he knew he did. But if he acted the way he continued to do so, then he'd never advance to where he wanted to be. Tell me, what's the most important thing to you? My friends, Monoma would say. Tell me, do you have what it takes to protect them? Of course I do. Do you love and care for them? Of course I do. Would you put your life on the line for them, without hesitation? Will you do what you need to do, even if it means you have to take a life? To protect my friends, I'll go through hell itself. Monoma, the Red Alien Ranger, now stood, his blade standing to his back. The training had been harsh. The drills had been now ingrained into his very being. But what Monoma had become was far greater than what he could have been before. With his ability to copy and to manipulate quirks, he had touched hawks, using his feathers, enhancing them with his own power to be able to strike down twice his copies. Meet my friend here, Red Alien Ranger. Twice, Monoma would say. This is your last warning. Stand down or die. Good job, good job. Monoma and Hawks would turn around, both of them dodging just in time as a blue flame came jetting towards them. Dobby, It's okay. Don't worry about it. You have nothing to worry about now. So, how long did you suspect me? Hawks would say. Always. I never trusted you from the beginning. Even after everything I'd done. Yeah, you were a good little soldier, weren't you? Twice. Yeah? It seems you went ahead and morphed, huh? Good job. Time for you to let loose. Twice would attempt to get away. Monoma would hold off against Dobby, and Hawks, using his specially imbued feather sword, would go striking towards Twice. The carnage and the wreckage starting to emanate all throughout the compound. Everyone was trying to escape and run for their lives. Toga and Mr. Compress were looking to get out of the way when they were ensnared by a hero. However, before he could bring them in, he would be stabbed in the back. A power blade, Mr. Compress would think. Twice? Toga, she ran towards him. You did it! You were able to morph! You guys, you have to get out of here. Twice, what's wrong? Mr. Compress would say. I can't hold myself. I can't. It's not gonna last too long. The clone would slowly start to dissipate as it handed a silver morpher to Toga. They got the jump on me. I was too naive. And because of that, I'm paying the price. Twice? It's okay. It's fine. The morpher was wrapped inside of a handkerchief, the one that Toga gave to him, that made him feel whole. I'm not gonna see the master again, but it's alright. Just tell him I'm sorry. And I did my best. Really, I did. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Twice? It's okay. Really. You're the best friends a guy could ever have. I don't care what society says. I don't care what the law or any damn government thinks. I choose you. I choose you guys. In 1,000 lifetimes. No matter how many times I'm reborn, through and through, I'll always find you guys. It's okay. It doesn't end here. Don't let them hold you back. Don't let them constrict you. Don't let them confine you. You go all out, and you show them what you're truly made of. Twice's clone would dissipate into mush. Toga left there holding what was once her friend, Mr. Compress standing by her side. In the meantime, Dabi stood in a room of blue flame. Monoma had took Hawks to safety, as most of his feathers had been destroyed. We need to get out of here and regroup, Hawks would say. And we need to warn the others of what's coming. As the raid continued, Toga, she became angry. It wasn't going to end like this. She looked through and found her communicator as she contacted all of the others. It's time. Dabi looked at his communicator and grinned. I'm ready. Let's do this. We're not gonna let you go out like that twice. We're gonna get him back. Spinner was ready. Mr. Compress was ready. Toga was ready. And Dabi was ready. It's morphin' time. Psycho Pink. Psycho Blue. Psycho Red. And Psycho Black. We're gonna make you pay, heroes. Your society, everything you hold dear, your damned symbol of peace. We're gonna burn that shit. We're gonna burn it to the ground until it's nothing but decayed ash and nothing but rot. And when it's over, you can disappear. The Psycho Rangers were now unleashed as the war entered into its next stage. This concludes My Hero Academia, Heroes of the Morphing Grid, What If Deku Was a Power Ranger, the Psycho Wars Arc, Part 13. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we have a special full-length presentation as we will be doing the second movie in the Naruto DxD series. Stay tuned for that and everything else. Until then, I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.